This week is a really quick video because I've been talking way too much in the past several weeks. I haven't come up with a really good new topic yet to talk about, so I'm going to do another video game review. And I've talked a little bit about this one on the podcast, so I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. And I'm going to try to cut out all of my oohs, all that junk. So what I'm going to review this week, I'm going to review Alan Wake for the Xbox 360, available only on. Alan Wake is, it's super titled, or subtitled, a psychological action thriller. Kind of branded sort of as, you know, horror, and I like horror games a lot. So I thought that was really cool. And one of the big things is it's made by Remedy. The last game they made before Alan Wake was Max Payne 2. And that's a series that I haven't really talked a whole lot about, but I really like the Max Payne games. I especially love the first game. And the second game, not nearly as good as the first one, but still a pretty good game. I'm a Max Payne fan. Max Payne movie sucked, but Max Payne games are pretty good in my book. Anyway, Alan Wake, it was in development for several years. They try to make a movie out of it, basically, and it's presented like a serial on TV, like each chapter of it, at the end of it, or at the beginning of the next chapter, there's like this review of the previous chapter, which is kind of cool, but some of the critics have pointed this out, and it really is kind of dumb if you ask me. You can't save between like the end of one chapter and the beginning of the next, really, or it does autosave stuff, and it saves after like the intro, and so you can't, it's really weird. It's like you always are watching the beginning of the next section right when you finish the last section. So it's not like you can finish a section, go away, come back, and then watch the review to pick up where you were. It's like you always see the review after you've done it, and that's just kind of backwards. Okay, so about the game, do I like it, do I not like it? I like this game. Some of the pros, let's say, the action can be pretty suspenseful at times. The environments are like very well detailed, very nice looking. And when it's dark and it's creepy and you're like in the forest and then all of the bad guys come on you, it's really cool. It's creepy, it's scary, it's tense, all the stuff you kind of want in a horror game. So that's kind of cool. I really like that about it. Let me back up again. I'm getting ahead of myself as I always do. Explain a little bit about the story. So Alan Wake, the title, you play as the title character, this guy called Alan Wake. He's a horror novelist. He has had writer's block for the past several years, and so to kind of get over the writer's block, he tries to go to this island, or this town called Bright Falls with his wife to sort of get away from stuff, and turns out like his wife is taking him there because she wants him to try to, you know, open up creatively to start writing again, and he doesn't want to do that because he thought they were just going there to relax and blah blah blah. Strange stuff, like his wife has a fear of darkness, like a strange fear of darkness. Like she goes crazy if it's dark in any sort of way. And that's kind of the whole thing about the story is, oh, Bright Falls, yeah, but then the lights go out and then there's bad stuff happening. And I don't really want to spoil the plot too much, but it's a pretty good story all the way up until the end. I thought they were going for something pretty cool, pretty out there, and they were, and it ended up being a pretty decent story. I just didn't really like the way that it resolved in the end, or perhaps it just wasn't clear enough to me how it resolved, and I didn't analyze it enough. Better story by far than Mirror's Edge. It left some to be desired, I think, and so some of the knocks against it are the way that the story wraps up in the end. It's pretty good, and it kind of, you know, comes to a close, and it's not like you're sitting there and you're like, what? But maybe to some degree you kind of are in the back of your mind. It's not a full closure, but it seals up the plot. Another big knock against it, and I hope this isn't a spoiler. Spoiler alert! Skip a few seconds if you don't want to be spoiled. I don't know how much of it is. The last boss sucks. I mean, it's not hard. It's Really, really easy, not even very menacing. The lead up to the last boss is really cool and intense, but once you finally get there and fight the last boss, it really wasn't that awesome, I didn't think. The light mechanics in the game are really cool. The fact that you get the light to revive your health, while not extremely realistic, it's still cool. I mean, this game's not really about realism anyway, so that's pretty cool. The action is really fun and intense, but another knock against it is it kind of gets repetitive because it's basically the same kind of action literally beginning to literally end. It doesn't really change up much at all, other than there's some driving sequences where you get in a car, but the thing is, you can get out of the car, and the second you get out of the car, it's just the same action as the other parts, so you might as well just stay in the car while you're allowed to, and then just drive. Another knock, and I talked about this in the podcast, is there's overly blatant product placement in it, and I didn't like that. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I'm not trying to be one of those old geezers, oh, back in my day, we didn't do that kind of stuff. I don't really like product placement in games, like, at all, really. I mean, some games, there's a place for it. Like, if you're, like, on a racing game and it's on a racetrack, of course there are ads all over it. I mean, that makes sense. If you're playing, like, a sports game and it's in an arena, of course there are ads all over the arena. That makes sense. My first interactions with ads in games was like, I think the Cool Borders series, which is pretty old. It's like a snowboarding game. You're on the slopes in like a pipe or whatever. Of course, there are ads on the side because that's that's just the way that this stuff goes. And of course, yeah, they're ads in real places. But when the focus of a game is the seriousness of the story, you don't want to really be pulled out of it. Because to me, that I can see where somebody would argue that increases the draw into the story, the sort of immersion, because it's realistic, it's like real life. But to me, it's just the opposite. I see that and then I think of real life and then I'm out of the illusion. So that's just me. Maybe it's just me being crazy. But yeah, a good game, definitely worth the asking price right now, for sure, for sure. If you like horror games, definitely give this guy a shot. He like I said, it's worth the price. Rental, definitely. Don't even think twice about it. If you're halfway considering playing this game, I would suggest playing it. It's not amazing, it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's still a pretty good game. I liked it. The visuals are very nice. Not a whole lot to really complain about in it. I hear they're making a second one. I'm intrigued and interested to play a second one, if that gives any indication. Like I said, Remedy, I really like the stuff that they do. Oh, one thing at one point I wanted to make, Remedy has this sort of kind of obsession that I do with Norse mythology, and that's evident in this game too, and I like that a lot. Especially in the Max Payne games. If you notice, like Acer Plaza and even the drug Valkyr and all different kinds of things that are, the Club Ragnarok and all that stuff. It's totally ripped from Norse mythology, and I like Norse mythology, so that's cool. The objective score, or subjective score really, because it's my opinion and what does that even mean, but for me, I would say it's a 9 out of 10, because it's better than Mirror's Edge for sure, because if nothing else, the story is better than Mirror's Edge, and it's kind of like some really good twists, and you're like, oh, where's it going? Is this the truth? I mean, and honestly, this story had me guessing very deep into it. There were parts where I really thought I had the story figured out, and then something happened, and that completely blew what I thought away. And so that's always a really good thing in my opinion. So yeah, 9 out of 10. I think it could have been better with a better wrap up on the story. It could have been better with more varied gameplay. But not a whole lot to complain about it. Definitely worth the current price of admission. If you have a 360, I recommend playing this game. Alright. Hopefully I will do another game review before way too much longer, but I'm going to try to do something different next week, but I'm not going to promise that, because I may be kind of in a work situation like I am now where I kind of have to just do what I can. So if that's the case, then it'll be another game review, because like I said, I've got a stack of games sitting over there that I've played that I would like to talk about, and these were just the first two. So eventually I'll get to it. If not next week, then eventually, and if I don't do a game review next week, then it will be something different and interesting. So tune in next time for the next episode of Trygil's Tips, Tricks, and Talk. And until then, this is Jordan B. Sanders.